Good morning, Israel Briefers, from my hotel room in Montreal. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, where you guys join me for a look at those top stories making the headlines in Israel. Now, of course, you have joined me on my whistle-stop tour of Canada, and I want to take a huge opportunity to thank Canadian Hadassah Witso, in particular Tova Train, the president, and Lisa Colt-Kotler, the CEO, for arranging this for me, for looking after me so magnificently, and to everybody who attended any of my lectures around the country, a huge thank you to all of you. By the time I get back to Israel, I would have done 11 flights, 1 train trip, 7 cities in about 8 days. And here I am in Montreal before I head off to New York, and then I head off back home. And thank you for joining me along this tour, understanding that I'm jet lagged, but I'm always in the best company when I am with you. So today is day 712 since the atrocities of the 7th of October. We are creeping closer and closer and closer to that 2-year anniversary. And we never forget, not for a second, that we still have 48 hostages in hell in Gaza. Of course, we are very concerned, as was voiced by President Trump, that Hamas have moved our hostages above ground to use as a human shield. He called it a human atrocity and demanded that Hamas release them now. Of course, this has greatly concerned the families of hostages who have vowed that Prime Minister Netanyahu will not know a moment's peace until the war is over and their loved ones, the living and the dead, are returned home. So Israel is currently embarking on Operation Gideon Chariots, the sequel or part 2. This is the offensive. This is the last push for Gaza City. And while it has drawn widespread global condemnation, and I always find it interesting, I think I said this to you guys yesterday, I always find it interesting that there's global condemnation, but these countries that condemn Israel, they don't know what it is like to fight a war. They live in relative safety with no threats to their personal safety and to their country. But we do. We're attacked on multiple fronts, including another ballistic missile from Yemen yesterday. Just as I was about to speak in Ottawa, my alert system went off. The IDF have said that the main aims of this is to get our hostages back and also to apply military pressure to Hamas. And Hamas we want eliminated. Even U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in his address the other day, Hamas must cease to exist. So what we know so far is that about 400,000 Gazans have successfully managed to evacuate from Gaza City. And it shows you one thing. It shows you that they trust in the IDF to get them to safety. In one incident that I saw on the social media platform X, a family from Gaza were talking to the camera saying that, Hamas has created an untenable situation for them. And they are responsible for everything that they are suffering in the Gaza Strip. The army have struck at least 50 terror targets within Gaza City, and the army have vowed that they will do everything in their power to ensure that the military campaign in Gaza City does not endanger the hostages in any way. So this is where we are holding with that. Of course, it has resulted in global condemnation, including from the European Union, who are mulling whether or not to initiate economic sanctions or trade sanctions against the state of Israel. Now, Germany is undecided whether or not they will participate in this, but the foreign minister of Israel, Gideon, has said that, it's preposterous and it's actually morally horrific to put sanctions on Israel as it is fighting a war for its survival, and that sanctions on Israel will only harm Europe's interests. Prime Minister Netanyahu the other day spoke about the fact that Israel might become economically isolated, and he backtracked very quickly to say, we're working very closely with those countries that we continue to have strong relations with, and he said that the Israeli economy is still strong and robust. Nevertheless, of course, it affected the stock market, who did not like what the Prime Minister had to say. But the one thing that we have learned is that we have to adapt and pivot very, very quickly. So we're going to monitor this and see how it moves going forward. Israel and Syria are in advanced talks about signing a new security agreement between the two countries. The foreign minister for the new Syrian government will meet with strategic minister Ron Dermer a little later this week. They're going to iron out a few outstanding issues. Meanwhile, it has been made public that Israel is paying the salaries of Druze militia in Syria to protect the Druze and Christian communities. And finally, let's end on some good news, because people often say to me, Rolene, is there any good news? And the good news is that today we will see the opening of the embassy of Fiji in Israel's eternal capital, Jerusalem. The Fijian Prime Minister has just met and has been welcomed by Prime Minister Netanyahu ahead of the ceremony. I'm still jet lagged, guys, but we look so forward to Fiji joining the ranks of those countries who have opened their embassies in the capital. So, guys, this is the last Israel brief from me for the week. There won't be a brief tomorrow because I will be traveling to Israel, so I will see you again on Monday. And next week it is Rosh Hashanah, so there will be 2 days without Israel briefs. But rest assured, I will be back in studio. I will be taking those questions you sent to me. And of course, next Thursday, we will be announcing, I say we because I love your input, the mentions and the morons of the week. So guys, I want to thank you for joining me on my travels, your patience with me while I look like something that has been warmed up in a microwave and have sometimes repeated myself or mispronounced my words. I know I'm amongst family and I appreciate it so very, very much. And a reminder to you to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. We're on Facebook at Lottel's site. Next week, we'll be back on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, on Substack at Rolene Marks. I'm on Instagram at Rolene_Marks. So, guys, thank you. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom. And I will see you again in Israel on Monday. Bye for now.